State football and SEC baseball. So yeah, he brings a lot to the game, and he's right here.
Right now!
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Yes, sir. Let's go. It is Monday. Monday. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. JB is here. I'm here. Most importantly, you are here. And so we can do a radio show as long as you're here to tune in and listen and feedback, talk back, react. What's the right word? You know what I'm saying. Text me, call me, tweet me, all that kind of stuff. Call me on the Davini phone. If you know the number, good. I'll give it to you in a bit. Text me, the Country Pleasing text line. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you call me, JB's going to type it in, text me, and let me know you're on the line, and we'll be chatting it up before you know it. And you can also tweet me during the show. I watch Twitter. It's at Radio Wyatt. What in the world are we going to talk about today?
25 seconds left to play.
You're listening to the Matt Wyatt Show.
I want winners.
This crowd is alive.
Play to win the game.
Wyatt from the shotgun, two backs alongside.
Knock him out, John.
Wyatt gets the ball.
It won't be long.
Wyatt back to throw. Wyatt looks, fires toward the end zone. Passes, caught for touchdown by Matthew Butler.
Speak to
The Matt Wyatt Show. He's Radio Wyatt.
Well, how am I going to go to college? I'll just play football.
What about playing football, huh? What about playing football? Anybody going to do that? Anybody going to play some football this fall? Yeah, the answer is yes. It ain't going to be the Big Ten, though. Nope, it's not. How did my desk get so dirty right here all of a sudden? Yeah, it's not going to be the Big Ten, but who is going to play some football? Somebody's going to play some football. I think it's my job and your job to get on here together and figure that out. Hey to everybody tuning in on the live stream on this Monday. If you're watching on Facebook, hello to you. Lynn, the first to comment on the Facebook live stream, says Hail State. Miles, first in on the YouTube live stream, says SEC wants to play baby in all caps. Danny on Facebook, hey to you. Hail State, he says, from Ringgold, Georgia. No doubt about it. And you're right, Lynn reminds me, he says Georgia Vandy could have been worse. Lynn's a State fan, and it reminds me that here we are on Monday. And after I last talked to you, Friday afternoon, we got the two additional opponents for SEC teams, and that seems like an eternity ago. And you and I hadn't even been on the air since then. So we got a lot to get into. B-Mac on YouTube says play ball, or he says gotta play. Myron says Hail State from Vegas. Stark, Vegas, that is. And Hail State to you. So y'all feel free to comment on the live stream, and I'll be able to see your comments, questions, opinions, otherwise. And as I said, call me. I'd love to hear your voice today and on this Monday, kind of your reaction to the weekend buzzing and tweeting and news out there in the college football world. So y'all call me on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, the oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S. They've been doing it better, longer than anyone else right there, right here at home. Davini, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. The number to call me is 995-1059. It's a 601 number, 995-1059. Also, text me on the Country Pleasing text line. Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. The text line number, 885-ESPN. 885-ESPN or 885-3776. So feel free to text me. Hope you do. See what your comments are here today. Vince Lombardi says it best.
What the hell's going on out here?
What's going on, Big Ten? Let me ask y'all something. With a vote of 12-2 in favor of shutting down the college football season in the fall, the Big Ten is not going to play football. That's from their university presidents in the Big Ten. They vote 12-2 to cancel fall sports in their conference, the Big Ten. The two schools who reportedly, allegedly, whose presidents voted to continue ahead with having fall sports were Nebraska and Iowa. The rest of the Big Ten, so we're talking Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. The rest of the Big Ten, their presidents voted, cancel it. No fall sports. That's the Big Ten. Conventional thought out here is that the Pac-12 is going to follow them. That wouldn't really surprise anyone, would it? So I have a question for you real quick as I take my first sip on the show anyway of hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. My question for you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how brokenhearted are you that you will not have Big Ten football this fall? I'm sorry, I should not have laughed. How brokenhearted are you? How hurt are you by the Big Ten's cancellation of their football season on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being you are absolutely gutted by it. You're emotional. And 1 being, what's the Big Ten? Okay? That's what we're talking about on a scale of 1 to 10. How upset are you about it? That's where we are. And look, I think probably your reaction to that, if we're being honest, right, your reaction to that has something to do with how likely you think it is to affect other conferences, including the one you root for if you're an SEC fan, right? Well, I've got some responses coming in. I should have done a Twitter poll on this. Bully Bill on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. It is the best anywhere. It is made of hand-picked hams and bacons and pork loins. No junk, no stuff. It is the best tasting sausage you have ever put in your mouth. Try any of the flavors. You'll be glad you did. CountryPleasin.com. Text me at 885-ESPN. Bully Bill texts the show. He says disband the conferences. Do away with it, huh? Just, hey, if you want to play, play. Scale of 1 to 10. How about this? B-Mac just gave me an eye roll. He's like, whatever. Roll your eyes. How upset are you about the Big Ten doing without it? Eric says a 1. Lynn, does the Big Ten shutting down lead you to think the SEC may do the same? Gosh, I hope not. Listen, Lynn, the fact is, and that's Lynn commenting on the Facebook live stream. Listen, the fact is that the initial reporting and tweeting, for people who cover college sports was that, hey, if the Big Ten goes, the rest of these dominoes will fall. And I'm going, wait a minute, how can we say that about the SEC? Every historical sign, long ago, recently, anything in between, points to that they're not going to just follow some other conference down the same road. There'll have to be some real hard information. And if you read the signs the SEC laid for us, then making that decision right now for the SEC to cancel it all wouldn't make any logical sense unless there is new information of some kind, which nobody's reporting any new information of any kind. So what is it? See, like, it would make no logical sense whatsoever, Lynn, for the SEC in this order, and you and I have been right here talking about it every day on the radio, and it's only happened in about a week's time. What? Step by step, in this order, what did they do? They pushed back the start of the season to late September. Why? Well, one reason could be to give themselves a little more time to make a good decision on it. Yes or no? A little more breathing room in there. So they push it back to late September. Next, they set a practice start date, August the 17th. 1 week from today. Next, Friday afternoon, they release, or next, before Friday, we're going to play a 10-game conference schedule. We're not playing any non-conference games, just us. And then on Friday, even added 2 games to the schedule to even it all out for everybody. In that order, did all that. And you're telling me they're going to do all of that, including we're going to play our own conference, yet we're going to now cancel our season because of what another conference did. We're not even playing them. It would make no logical sense to make that decision based on the Big Ten's decision. None. Now, if the SEC makes it based on something else, based on testing, based on new medical information, okay. Otherwise, they're not canceling it. Lots of answers. I said, give me on a scale of 1 to 10 how upset you are about the Big Ten canceling fall sports, including football. Myron says 1. Cody said -10. Lynn 1. John said -8. That's an improvement. Will on YouTube said 2. Boyd on Facebook said -15. Pam said 0. Lance on Periscope says Big Ten laughing emoji 3 times, -10. Andrew on Periscope says -2. Caleb on Periscope says, all I know, the MAIS is playing football next Friday night. Tee it up! Play ball! Mary Ellen says on Facebook, I can see it the other way around, SEC canceling and everyone else canceling. Yeah, I mean, it could happen. That's right. The SEC has always been first in stuff, but in this situation now, everything has developed and grown to a situation where these conferences are not dependent on each other. The Big Ten actually started that. How ironic would it be, given what we know about the SEC and the thinking? I'm coming to all your texts, Kobe and Beerslayer and Greg and Steven and Bully and Squaz and Anthony. I promise I'm coming to your text next. Listen, but how ironic and turn around and just weird would all this be if we go back 4 weeks ago? What happened? The SEC and the ACC and everybody thought, as Power 5 conferences, we're going to work together and wade through all of this together. And the Big Ten said nope, and without even saying a word to any of the other people, just went out here and said, you know what? We're doing a conference-only schedule. We're canceling all of our games. They were the first to do it. And they went and they're talking to the media, and that's how the SEC folks found out about it. So they totally break away, totally not lock arms and work with the other Power 5 conferences in any way. Yet now they would like for everyone else to do what they're doing and let's all be together and let's all cancel the season. No. At least not because of you. If I was Greg Sankey, I'd look him straight in the eye. Commissioner Warren, listen, I respect you and your conference and your president's decisions. You have certainly the right to do that. We will make a decision for ourselves. I'd be doggone if I'd make any decisions based on what the Big Ten does. To heck with them. That's a nice way to say it. We'll look at ourselves. We may cancel the season in the SEC, but doggone it'll be on our time because of our information, looking at it the best way we know how. And listen, what would be wrong with the Southeastern Conference, which I think they're going to do, is students are going to come back to school. They're going to have some practices. If you get into it a week or two in there and realize this ain't going to happen, there's an outbreak here, there's an outbreak there, we got to send everybody home. If you don't have students on campus, you're not having football. And we all understand that. But if you do have students on campus, and those football players are going to class on campus, then you're playing football. Well, you may not get them all in. Okay. Well, somebody may get sick. All right. Understood. I may walk out my front door right here and get it before I get to the car in Tupelo, Mississippi. I'm not in control, and you aren't either. More comments than I can possibly get to. This is outstanding. Look at all these texts on the Country Pleasing text line. Here we go. First up, Patrick. Patrick B. on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. Could the Big Ten players transfer and play with those conferences that are going to play? Because they won't want to play in the spring during the NFL draft and have no time to heal up if they get injured. Could they transfer? It all of a sudden is sticky, Patrick. See, we kind of said, when the SWAC was the first. Look, we can say what we want about the Big Ten. They weren't even the first. I think the SWAC was the first to go, we're not playing football. Now, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. It costs an unbelievable amount of money to carry on the testing and the medical stuff and the testing of this COVID stuff for a football team. Somebody reported on it this weekend. It's like over $500,000 per school just for all this testing that's going to have to take place. Anyway, can the Big Ten players transfer? Well, I don't know. If you're the NCAA and a Big Ten player wants to transfer so that he can play somewhere where they're going to play. Southern Miss is about to tee it up against South Alabama on Thursday night, September the 3rd. Conference USA folks are talking today on the phone, but I've heard nothing to this point. They're getting ready to play. Can a Big Ten player go to a Conference USA school because they're going to play some games? Would the NCAA grant an immediate waiver to let them play? Anthony from Tupelo on the Country Pleasing text line. In the voice of Dean from Animal House, 0.0. Attaboy. Dad of Squez says, Big Ten, who cares? Bully Bill said, my Nebraska friend that owns the radio station in Grenada is heartbroken. Nebraska has nothing else. He should be heartbroken. What is his president doing? Tried everything he could. I mean, he voted to keep it going. But you got 12 of the 14 schools whose presidents in the Big Ten are more concerned about what their academician brethren in the Ivy League are going to think about them when they sit around the table at the golf course this summer with their pinky out, sipping tea. That's what some of these Big Ten presidents are more worried about. I'm going to garner a little favor with that Ivy League president over there who I'm going to see at the club or up there in the Hamptons when we make a trip. That's what they're thinking about. Some of them are. Yeah, I said it. Run tell. Steven on the Country Pleasing text line. Ohio State player tweeted asking if he can play in the SEC now instead, and the OSU receiver coach retweeted. These players are going to start showing out, especially ones that have draft status hanging in the balance, and they will. And you know what? It's interesting, Stephen. In some cases and in some conversations, some people are really concerned what the players think and what they want. And we'll get behind that. But in other cases and in other conversations, they don't really like what the players want and don't really care. Are you seeing we're going to see the two-faced nature of a lot of our media and a lot of our people that have a little check mark beside their name on Twitter that'll go retweet on every protest. Retweet on everything about pay the players. Retweet everything about eligibility. Now, as soon as they want to leave because football got canceled, and now they want to go play in a conference who's playing, how many times are they going to retweet that? How much fire are they going to have under their butt to get behind that cause? Mr. Ryder, you ain't going to find them. Hiding under a rock. They don't really want what the players want. They want what they want. Don't care about the players. All these media people who get behind it and push some cause, they don't really care. In the end. Kobe, Kobe, your text to me came in two parts, and it's now disconnected, and I can't tell where to start on it. I apologize about that. I don't know where that text actually starts. That's my fault.
Look at the one that starts at 12:08 with a number 5.
Okay, let's see. Okay, 5. All right, here we go. He says, I'm a Buckeye faithful and was hoping to see Fields take down Lawrence this year in a title game, but considering the unknowns COVID presents in conjunction with distinguishing student athletes from amateurs, it's rationally understandable. Yeah, Kobe, but my thing is, I mean, the whole thing of distinguishing student athletes from amateurs, and I get it. But is that something that we can justifiably make a part of this decision-making? Is it their health or not? Do I care about their health and well-being or not? Is it my say-so? Ask a parent. The fact is, Kobe, you actually have more parents supportive of their kids playing than not. You have more players supportive of playing than not. Okay? So should we can't really distinguish if they're amateurs or pros right now. Should that go into decision-making? We talk about liability being the biggest thing. Sure, I get it. Been talking about it for months. I was one of the first people I know to say, if you don't have students on campus, they won't play football. Why, Matt? Because You can't say it's not safe here for students, but it is safe here for student athletes. You can't do that. Lawyers jump all over it. Why? Liability stuff is not fair and treating them unfairly as compared to regular students, according to the NCAA language they put in place in 1996, and it's still there. Okay, I was one of the first to say that. Squez. The only Big Ten I know is a tire shop. Nick says on the Country Pleasing text line, Sankey needs to send an open invitation to any school that wants to play to join the SEC, then form a super conference, pay the players, and kill the NCAA once and for all. See, and pay the players is a big part of it, but what I'm saying is, can we sit here and justifiably go, well, we're going to make these decisions based on the health and safety and health and wellness of the student athletes? Oh, but whether or not they're an amateur and getting paid or not also plays a big role in this. Well, wait a minute. Which is it? I mean, I've been a hypocrite a lot of times in my life, but this is one case I can just point right at it and go, hypocritical. Hypocritical. Big fat hippo. Which is it? A lot of people could make a case that wellness has a whole lot to do with playing ball. What was it? Teddy Roosevelt said one of the 3 keys to happiness, period, is physical exercise. I know. I'm connecting a lot of bridges there. Way, way more texts and comments to get to. Y'all stick around. I'm Matt.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it?
He's right here, right now. Online at 1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Right out of the chutes, just getting started with you here. Staying connected to you around the clock because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired, a great Mississippi company. Speaking of the phones there, I've got Walking Bully's been hanging on for a long time. And Walking Bully, I really do appreciate you doing that. Thanks for talking to JB and then talking to us. What's up today? Thanks for calling.
Hey, Matt. Fired up Matt is the best kind of Matt.
Thank you.
I like it when you get fired up, man. First of all, I saw it while I was on hold a minute ago. I saw Pete Thamel just tweeted from a Big Ten spokesman that they have not, presidents and chancellors have not voted. So who knows? But
well, and I want to point out too, as you say that, Walking Bully, former teammate of mine on the Facebook live stream, Cameron Floyd, big tall receiver from Pontotoc. Remember him? Cameron, he actually sent that to me on Facebook, that Pete Thamel's saying that he just got a text. I looked it up, and I want to touch on this. Don't lose track of what you wanted to say. I just wanted to point this out because it is big news. Pete Thamel saying that he just got a text from the Big Ten spokesman, no vote has been held by our presidents and chancellors. That's in the quote. And then he goes, hence the Big Ten watch continues. Hey, and Walking Bully, you want me to show you how, what's the word, messed up and out of whack and out of sync, and how little leadership actually has a hold of the situation in that particular conference, is that Jim Harbaugh, the head coach at Michigan, put out a long statement today with about 10 different bullet points going into great specifics as to how good his team and organization have done at testing and keeping guys from getting positive tests and all this kind of stuff in an effort to lobby for them to play after the news came out that the Big Ten was canceling football. That's why Jim Harbaugh, the head coach at Michigan, puts it out, and now somebody's telling Pete Thamel, we haven't voted on anything. You talk about a big, steaming pile of you-know-what. That's the Big Ten.
That's right.
All
no
right.
Leadership.
No leadership. All right, so what's up?
All right. Here was my thing. You talked about this briefly in the opening segment. Whether it's about the decision to play with respect to the virus, whether it's about liability or whether it's about player safety, player health and safety. And the one thing that I haven't heard anybody articulate yet, and maybe you can, with respect to either of those, whether it's liability or player health and safety, is how do players playing college football, how does that markedly move the needle with respect to contracting the virus versus not playing football? And I say that against the backdrop of everybody's going to be on campus, in dorms, in classrooms, in cafeterias, in libraries, ostensibly. How is it any more likely with respect to liability or player health and safety that you're going to contract the virus playing football outdoors, an aerosolized virus, right? So you're playing football outdoors versus being indoors on campus and in classrooms. And I guess my point is, especially with liability, if you're concerned about, the university is concerned about being health problems with respect to playing football, how does that liability just go away if they're on campus and contracted in another method without playing football? Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Walking Bully, playing football does not put them in a position of a, markedly greater risk at getting the virus than in any other normal student if they're having classes on campus. That's my answer.
That's my belief, but I haven't heard anybody articulate to me how it does.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think with all these, like you said, the blue checkmark brigade on Twitter running around,
right?
Nobody's tackled that issue. They keep saying it.
Right. Here's the thing, too.
But nobody explains it.
Well, and I'm not the smartest, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, so maybe I'm missing it. But, okay, there was a story yesterday. Let's consider this. There was a story yesterday that popped up about Minnesota Vikings linebacker Cameron Smith. He's going to skip the season, and it says due to a congenital heart condition he discovered after testing positive for the novel coronavirus. The story that I read, and I've got it right here in front of me, it's with People magazine. And Walking Bully, it said they discovered it after he tested positive. Well, right. There have already been people out here clamoring that this coronavirus can cause heart inflammation, cardiac inflammation, and cause problems for these people who get it down the road. You may have heard Nicole Auerbach, I think is who that is, and then there's one other, Heather Dinich of ESPN. She did a thing, and I listened to the sound clip before the show. She says they're worried about these heart things. But here's the thing. Any virus can cause you to have cardiac inflammation after you have it and get rid of it. Okay? It's not just coronavirus. Right. And I think people are using that. Again, I think people are getting confused. I think even the biggest, baddest media with the greatest contacts in this country, Walking Bully, are taking one little snippet of one little conversation they have with somebody via text or on the phone, and they're running with it because everybody's searching for answers and everyone's getting confused. The reason I said all of that is when we talk about liability, I go back to the beginning. You are a college campus. You're a college, okay? Nobody can argue successfully that the education you get remotely and digitally and online is the same as what you get on campus in person. Okay, nobody can argue that. So their entire business model, the whole operation, including their mission statement, is to get kids on campus. Yes, they pay tuition to be there, and to educate them in person, right? That's any value that Mississippi State offers me, that's it right there, okay?
Right.
And so, Walking Bully, if you and I are not student athletes, we're students, and we pay that tuition, and we get to go in that classroom, even if they have us distanced, even if they have us have masks on and that kind of thing, we're still there. Okay, there's still a chance we pick up the virus and test positive. And the same thing for the student athletes. But if we're all there, that's their business model. That's what they do. So there's just simply nothing out there scientifically right now that would prove to you, just like you say, that would prove there's a greater chance of that kid catching it on a football field than in the classroom at Lee Hall. There's nothing to prove that.
And I'll leave you with this. With respect to that myocarditis we're talking about with the heart issue, Ross Dellinger had a tweet out earlier today about the Indiana University offensive lineman who developed some of that after contracting the virus. But to me, the most important thing in that tweet and in that story, to actually click on it and read the story from the Indianapolis Star, was he says in there the reason that the heart problem was detected was because of the testing he was asymptomatic initially.
Right.
So the testing that he was going through as a player, which eventually caught the virus, and then the heart defect, or I shouldn't say defect, the inflammation,
right.
Which, like you said, is common. That's a red herring. It's important, but it's a red herring because the heart inflammation only comes after the virus. Mm-hmm. So again, the key is going back to catching the virus and testing for it and being able to identify it. And I don't see any argument that players aren't more safe or aren't safer getting that testing 2 to 3 times a week as a football player as opposed to not.
Well, tell me this, Walking Bully. if they are not a part of the team activities that is offered at these big, powerful, wealthy universities as part of these multi-million-dollar athletic programs, and let's say they don't stay in school, let's say they go home, are they going to go get home and get tested 3 times a week to see if they have it?
No.
Absolutely
no,
not.
Not unless they're symptomatic.
Not unless they're symptomatic.
Only if
And
they're
here's the
symptomatic.
thing. Wouldn't you rather catch it before you're symptomatic?
That's the point, especially if it develops heart inflammation or heart problems.
Absolutely.
Because if you're asymptomatic and you catch that and you have a heart issue and you never know about it. But if you're tested constantly, like these athletes are, like the kid from Indiana was, you're asymptomatic, but you're tested and you catch it and you get treated for it.
Absolutely. As I can honestly say that with the limited amount of information that we have right now, which it's going to grow and grow and grow, Walk and Bully, there are a whole lot of parents who know that their athlete who's on that football team would be in a safer environment, getting tested at a minimum twice a week, when he walks in, when he walks out, in a bubble, around people with the best, access to the best medical care facilities and personnel in that entire area, okay, that they would be better off there than they would if they came home and stayed with us and just got bored and were out here doing whatever. So
that's a fact.
It's a fact, and you make a great point. And you're right.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you for making that point. And not a lot of people are articulating that because we're focused on the big numbers. Okay, I like that conversation, and here's why. Because it's about health and safety and wellness. That's what I say. That's what it's about. Can we say definitively that if they don't have classes online, on campus, it's only online, there's no athletics going on campus, and we send, I'm going to use an example, let's say we send Kylan Hill back home to Columbus. Can you say definitively that he's better off there than he would be if he's there even going through practice and getting tested a minimum of twice a week? Nobody can say that. So I'm not out here like pounding the desk telling them what they ought to do. But what I am telling them is there's nothing out here on my computer screen anywhere that explains what the Big Ten is doing. Nothing explains it. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C-Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with autopay and paperless billing. Even without autopay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C-Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C-Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it?
And on your radio on ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Back on the show, I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team, hometown heroes. All right, y'all call me on the Davini phone. By the way, Davini Equipment is hiring. What did I do with my phone? I laid my phone around here somewhere.
Dude,
it's right here.
Where's my phone?
Dude, I know what it was. It was in the drawer right here. And I never put it in that drawer, but I did because I tuned in with my phone from C Spire while we were on the air. With my phone from C Spire, my iPhone, I tuned into the Zoom meeting for the Starkville Rotary Club. Mike Leach is talking there today. And so I tuned into that with my phone, and I hit the record on my phone so that I could have the audio in case he said anything. I'd have audio, we could use it here on the show. And I couldn't get the volume turned down. And I didn't want anybody to hear it on the air through my microphone, so I just threw it in the drawer and shut it,
That's what a lot of parents try to do to their kids when they're doing homeschooling.
Put them
in the
drawer. That's right. Or like, your least favorite teacher takes up the phones and throws it in the drawer, and you cannot have this back until the end of the day. Yeah, Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. They are hiring. Do you need a job? Y'all listen up. Do you need a job? A good one, a good paying one for good people at that. If you are a diesel technician, if you are an assembly technician, if you've ever worked in a shop as a service writer, or if you're in sales, you want to sell construction equipment and mowers and that kind of stuff, they are looking for those positions right now at Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. So hit them up. Y'all call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059, and text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. Everybody on the YouTube stream, what's up? Appreciate y'all watching and commenting. Same to you on Facebook, watching on Facebook. See all your comments right here. Dave on Facebook said, Matt, my son's attending state junior year. How about that? Out of the 5 classes he signed up for, now only 1 class is face-to-face in class, and all the other online or synchronized classes. Is that like a synchronized swimming? Stick your legs up in the air, paddle. Mongonius on YouTube, what a name, said if they collect tuition but don't have to pay for an active campus, electricity, janitorial, it's profit for the university. That is true if they collect tuition. But let me tell you something right now. This is a very cynical black helicopter theory, but what they better not do at these colleges and universities, okay, is collect this fall tuition check and wait just in time for it to clear the bank account and then cancel a bunch of classes, send them all home. Whew. We talk about lawyers. There'll be plenty of work to go around then. They better not do that. All right, here we go. Country Pleasing text line. Andrew says, like it or not, the Big Ten is the second most talented conference, and I enjoy watching their league. Give me Penn State versus Ohio State over Clemson versus North Carolina any day. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Look, in terms of second most talented, I'm not really sure, what that has to do with anything, talented or not. Does the Big Ten have the second most players go in the NFL draft or the third? Ultimately, what difference does that make? But, just in terms of personal taste, I'm like you. I love the Big Ten Network. I'll turn it on there a lot of days, and they'll be showing me, Michigan, Ohio State from 97. I'll turn it on and watch it. Like it. I don't have any interest in the ACC. Outside of Clemson's relevance now, North Carolina, I kind of like them because I know somebody on their coaching staff. I like to keep up with them and that kind of thing. I mean, I have much more of a taste for the Big Ten. I do, but still what I'm saying is I don't know what that has to do with anything. Mississippi Tiger on the Country Pleasing text. Everybody crying that they need their football. Remember when y'all downplayed this virus and thought it'd be gone by now? He says, I hope you got the activities picked out for the family when reality set in. Again, I'm not sure who that's to. It's not to me. It doesn't address me, and I don't even know what the last part of that means. Norman, Coffee Norman, says, Matt, I agree with you, but if the SEC ends up being the only Power 5 left, the liability burden looks heavier the more that cancel. I don't like it, but, and, again, that may be true for somebody who really does understand the whole liability part of it. For me, personally, I think in reality, outside of, hey, I'm going to call a lawyer and see if I can get some free money. Okay, because that's what a lot of that is. All right? Which I don't think that way. I don't want any part of it. I'll assume brokenness and penniless, living under a bridge, and be more okay with that than I will be stacking up cash that I didn't earn, that I just stole from somebody because I could. Okay? There's my statement on all that kind of stuff. So in regards to that, if somebody says to me, Matt, you don't have to do this. You can opt out all you want. You can opt out, and if you opt out, come back next year, your scholarship is honored. We're not taking it away from you. You don't have to do this. But you can if you want to. Well, if I make the decision I want to, it's on me now. That's the way it is in my mind. And frankly, I got just a little bit too much backbone to opt into something and then still blame it on somebody else. Just not doing it. Now, I understand that that's perfect world stuff. That's personal, trying to have some personal integrity stuff. That doesn't always apply in a courtroom. I get it. Bully Bill, Country Pleasing text line. Can you give us a little insight, being a former player, and how you'd feel knowing you had no control and couldn't play? Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it would be really tough to sit there if I felt 100% that my family's better off if they're where they are and I'm here. And I'm better off if I'm here. And I'm going to be okay. We're going to be okay, ultimately, if we go forward with this, and I just want to play. But then knowing you don't have any control over it. It's tough. But I would say, Bully Bill, generally, looking back on it, when I was a player, this is 20 years ago, you just kind of understand that other people are in control. And by the way, if you're watching on the YouTube feed or the Periscope feed or the Facebook feed, you just type your question in right there. I can see it all. We got so many coming in, it's hard to get to all of them, but I can maybe try to get to your question or comment. John, watching on Periscope, says, what bothers me is the fact that there's no guarantee for a vaccine. Why are we canceling everything? Well, I mean, look, let's step back. There's a reason for all of this to be cautious. There's a reason you need to be and I need to be and we all need to be. Look, when, my wife and I, we have a 9-year-old, and we got late last week the decision that their start of school was getting pushed back. So, a little more time before we had to just send her up there. And that was like us going, oh, that felt good to have a little more time to make a decision. We're very cautious about where she goes and who we're around. We're trying to do our best based on what everybody says. Okay, cautious is one thing. Totally canceling stuff is a big decision when, just like Walking Bully and I were saying, I'm not sure you can definitively tell me that all these football players and staff, for that matter, are better off that we cancel this stuff. I'm not so sure you can definitively say that right now. I don't know. Everybody's got to make their own decision. Eric says, Trump just threw his support behind college football. It is over now. Well, I don't know if it's over, Eric, but this, boy, that's really going to encourage some folks to want to shut it down just to see him be wrong about it. Bates on the Country Pleasing text says, Mr. Wyatt, in honor of my boys going back to school today, and they'll be playing football this week, can you play Neck from Sonic Boom? The answer is yes, I can play it. Now, most times I will have previewed your text a little beforehand and kind of do a nice little lead up, but I'm trying to get into so many texts all at one time that I didn't preview it. So here's like 5 seconds. Come on! It doesn't get much better than that. Little Neck from the Sonic Boom. We'll hit some of that in hour number 2 for you as well when we have time to get to the big finish. Hey, and have I ever played for you, Bates, the JSU version of Coming to America? It's Turn It Up to 11 worthy. We'll get some of that in hour number 2 as well. Anthony on the text says, Colin Hill posted on Twitter yesterday that he was safer playing football than he would be going back to Columbus. That's reality. That's not just hot air trying to advocate for a season. That's reality for a lot of players. Warrior Pride, I got your question. We'll get to that coming up as we start hour number 2 in just a few minutes. Jason, I'm coming to your text. Bulldog Brian, unnamed. Long way to go. Thank you all for listening and for your texts and comments and everything. Makes it fun. Hour 2 coming up in the Farm Bureau studio.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C-Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. the best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
Show. Live in the studio. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right. Back with you, hour 2. I'm a poet and don't know it. I get a rhyme every time. Here in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Available to you in all 82 counties. Hometown heroes. Somebody you can deal with face-to-face, one-on-one. For example, when that fender bender happens on Saturday night at 11 p.m., everybody else asleep, you just text your Farm Bureau Insurance agent, and they are on the case just like that. That's the way it is with Farm Bureau. It's not the way it is with everybody, but it is the way it is with Farm Bureau Insurance. Also, we stay connected to you around the clock because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. I'm texting and uploading and live streaming and posting and tweeting and, everything around the clock because of C Spire. Really do appreciate them. So, let me jack it up another notch before you get the energy going. Because Bates said on the Country Pleasing text line, he wanted some neck from the Sonic Boom. We played just a little. Then I said, have you ever heard the Sonic Boom version of Coming to America? And he says, just like Gator Greg, he calls me Mr. Wyatt. He says, Mr. Wyatt, you have not played Coming to America. Please play. Well, you asked for it. You got it, Toyota. Turn it down. I'm about to blow the speakers out. Now listen to this. Back up. Woo! Woo! Get ready. Here we go. Good gracious alive. If that doesn't light your fire, your wood is wet. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to play. Good gracious alive. The JSU Sonic Boom. Big finish. Whew. Everybody take a breath. Oh, I love it. That gets the old heart beating right there. Bates, thank you, buddy. Says we hit a home run. All right, let's start it off on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. In just a minute, Warrior Pride, I'm coming to your question on YouTube. Also coming to your text, but first, Larry, hanging on the Davini phone. What's up, Larry? Thanks for calling.
Man, I think the Alcorn State version is better. I'm just putting that out there.
Are you sure you want to be on record with that? Are you sure about that now?
Well, why not? I mean, who's going to find me?
Good point. Good point.
Hey, when I was 19 years old, man, I was in the Marine Corps. I was in the back of a Amtrak with an M16 fixing to hit a beach,
Mm-hmm.
And they treat these college guys like they're 10-year-olds playing youth city league football. They're grown men. They can make their own decisions if they want to play or not. Treat them with, you got to have a waiver. You can't have a waiver. That is the most serious thing I've ever heard in my life. They sit you down and say, look, if you want to play, great, play. If you don't want to play, don't play. You still have your scholarship. I mean, what kind of liability is that? It's a grown man making a decision for himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Larry, here's the thing. This is maybe a couple of weeks ago when some of this stuff was really bubbling up. And I was talking to someone I know very well who has a legal background. Okay, he's retired now. And I was talking about the liability stuff and waivers and just kind of like, because I'm a novice. And, he says to me, and this is a guy who knows this stuff. He says, hey, listen. He said, like if you were to go to some theme park, and even if you sign a waiver before you go to, some ride or whatever, he said, most people in the legal community know this. Those waivers aren't worth the pen and ink and paper you wrote it on. And that really stuck with me thinking, man, on the surface, things seem one way, but there are a lot of people in the legal profession that if they can get it into a courtroom or get it into negotiations, they see it a totally different way. So I'm confused on all that, I guess is what I'm saying, Larry.
Well, something? I go to the gym 5 days a week, I'm sure there's a waiver in there myself, but it's just, okay. So we got to shut all gyms down.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
I mean, I'm on the road. I mean, it's just, I'm driving right now. I just think it's silly. If that's the reason, it's a silly reason. They're looking for an opt-out. In my personal belief, I think it's more politics than anything else, because a lot of those Big Ten schools are in blue states, and Orange Man is bad, and they anything they can. I'm sure there were some ADs. I mean, there's probably some governors up there just said, no, Michigan State, Michigan, they're not playing. They're not playing football. So if two schools don't play, what does the rest of the conference have to do? Well, I'm just guessing. I'm like everybody else, but I think in a few months we'll see the real rationale behind them not playing football.
Thanks for the call, Larry.
Yeah.
And Larry says that I was kind of in a fog after Larry told me that he likes the Alcorn State Band's version of that better than the JSU Sonic Boom. I was kind of in a fog there, Larry. I'm just kidding.
Just fighting words.
Just fighting words right there. It's like that one time many moons ago when Beaver kind of said on the air he didn't really like the Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
And the poor guy has not been able to escape it.
Yeah. It's just one of those kind of comments you need to keep to yourself.
What's that? The old joke? I don't believe I would have told that one.
Yeah.
Since we're confessing things. Okay.
I've never done that.
You're right. No, we all have. Y'all call me like Larry did. Larry's got some points in there. I myself am not right now going to drive it down the political road, but I will say this, something Larry brought up that is a point that we all need to hear and consider. Y'all listen to me. What is the difference in a group of athletes, a very small group of athletes? That the number I'm going to say is inconsequential to what I'm bringing. Don't worry about how many athletes are in which group. I'm asking you a very on-the-surface question, an effective question. What is the difference in a small group of athletes forming a unity group and making certain demands of their conference, certain things they want, including pay and revenue? What is the difference between that? This is a group of athletes who are saying they want something versus a very large group of athletes over here who are saying they want something. And in this case, they are saying they want to play. What's the difference? And now, yes, the group here that is over here getting together saying we want to play, that is a very large group, a majority. And yes, this group over here is a unity group. We're making some demands. We want, health assurances. We want some money. We want some revenue. That's a very small group that's unifying on that. But throw out the size of the groups. What is the difference? Okay, I'll tell you one thing I noticed. There may be other differences, but this is one thing I noticed. There is a huge difference in who gets behind one group and pushes them and encourages them and writes about them and tweets about them and supports them versus those people getting behind this group who wants to play and pushing them and encouraging them and supporting them and writing about them. There's a massive difference there. Why? The point I'm making is this. You can't have it both ways. I was listening this morning on my morning walk to the Jocks Round Table in Birmingham, and my friend Jim Dunaway made a great point. He's exactly right. If you want the athletes themselves to have the biggest voice in the room on one issue, then you must accept that they have the biggest voice in the room on the other issues also. And you mushy-headed media who think you have the power because you pulled the pen out from behind your ear need to understand that. Bulldog Brian says, my son, a junior at MSU, of 6 classes, 5 are online, 1 is in the hump. Heck, has cleared and the year apartment lease signed. No, he didn't say heck. He says the check has cleared and the year apartment lease is signed. Hail State, but Mississippi State is getting their money, he says. Real unnamed texter, I turned it up as loud as I could get it as far as my headphones could stand it. I don't want to bust them. Gatorman says, Matt, my friend, you're spitting fire today. Thank you. And let's go to Jason. He texted me a minute ago, and he said, and there's a lot here. And Jason, I know you understand. Sometimes I don't get to your text before there's a whole lot there, and I'm about to come to you. But his first text today said, Brother Wyatt, I don't agree with canceling the season. I don't care what the media says, and I don't care what political sites say. What Greg Sankey said a month ago and was ignored by the public is my problem. He says nothing we can do about them, but we've done a terrible job as a nation of doing the things we need to do to have a chance for normal-ish operations. So in terms of that, you pointed out the quote. Sankey said this a month ago. That's what I'm furious about. So without reading all of it, let's talk to Jason. He's on the phone on the Davini Equipment phone line, Jason in Flagstaff. So, Jason, take me back and tell me again what it was that Sankey said that kind of had you in an uproar.
Well, basically, to paraphrase him, he was telling all of us that we were running out of time to slow this thing down or we could have a normalist season. He laid it out, how we have politicized wearing the mask and the social distancing and all this stuff, and we're ignoring basic common sense principles of, the tiny small things that we could do to help control the spread of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's to the point where, like I texted later on, where it's the motto of our politicians now to never let a crisis go to waste. To now it's in politics, it's in the sports media. Everybody's making a big deal out of it one way or the other. And it's because the virus is everywhere. It's just everywhere. There's nowhere we can go to get away from it.
Right. Well, and you're right. I think, Jason, hindsight's 2020. You were one of those didn't need the hindsight. I definitely give you credit for that. But you're right. That is, I think there has been a wake-up call. I may be wrong about this, and gosh, I don't want to talk out of turn either, Jason. But I know you're out in Arizona now. Your home state's here in Mississippi.
Yeah.
But the numbers are starting to get a little better, and I wonder if it's because over the last few weeks, if more and more people in this state haven't gotten a little more serious about, hey, let's just do what we have to keep from spreading it around some more. And so
it happened here too when our governor he closed down the bar. I mean, we were about overwhelmed too, especially around Phoenix.
Right.
They were ordering up refrigerated trucks to haul bodies around, and he finally lifted all his restrictions on cities and towns, mandating masks, and he closed a bunch of bars. And on the whole, 2 weeks later, it looks a whole lot better. And these are the little things that we were told to do when we reopened, and nobody listened.
Right.
And now just about everybody from Florida all the way back to California is in a state where everybody is scared to do anything.
Yeah. Well,
and that's another. The thing about closing, I don't think it's as much about blue states and red states as it is. You look at the Big Ten, Michigan and Ohio, they got smacked in the mouth with this thing pretty early, and so did California and Seattle in the Pac-12. They've had to bury a couple hundred people a day before. I'm sure that has more to do with it than the orange guy being bad, because green is louder than orange, blue, or red.
Right.
And they're risking a lot.
I think a lot will come from this. Jason, I always appreciate you listening and calling. It's good to hear from you.
All right, and thank you for being one of the first people to stand up for the mask and telling people to protect their neighbor. But a lot of people in Mississippi didn't do that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. And I think my wife's had a lot to do with that. But we just saw it early on as, what's the big deal? If they tell me, hey, Matt, put on a mask because whether you have it or not, you could get it and not know it. So therefore, if you've got the mask on, there's just less of a chance you're going to cough on something and give this to somebody else. Well, then, and we were like, well, what's the big deal with wearing a mask then? We'll wear a mask. We'll do it. And then as the numbers went up, it really became clear, well, what's the big deal? If we've got to spend a year, kind of stay at arm's length, my arm from one tip to the other is about 6 feet. If I got to stay that far away from people for, a good portion of time and stop shaking hands and wear a mask for a little while, what in the grand scheme of life, what is the big deal with doing that? I don't understand why. I just never understood why people had such a problem with it. I do understand, Jason, when people had a problem with somebody going, well, you low down, sorry, redneck hick from the hills, you won't wear a mask because you're a low down, dirty, Trump-loving, Bible-toting, gun-shooting, Christian redneck Republican. And therefore you won't wear your, and I understand that making people mad, and we're grouping everybody together. I think what I'm saying is, I've never understood on the other side is why we all can just go, well, okay, look, it's a little sacrifice we got to make. It ain't comfortable. It ain't great. Stay away from people. Stop shaking hands. Put a mask on because you may have it. You may not know it. But, hey, to each their own. Thanks for the call, Jason. Let's see here. Somebody said on the text line, Matt, we moved our sophomore granddaughter into a Mississippi State dorm on Saturday. Then she tells us she only has one class that's not online. Can you comment on the fairness of the SEC's 2 additional opponents announcement at 5 p.m. on Friday? Look, signed Sam Pittman and Eli Drinkwitz, Arkansas and Missouri. It is amazing to me that I am going on an hour and a half into a Monday show where we had an announcement of additional SEC opponents on Friday afternoon at 5. And because of stuff on Twitter this weekend, I hadn't even touched on it. Crazy.
You can say Alabama's schedule probably is the toughest in the SEC now.
Why? Are you being sarcastic or?
Because of the 2 teams they picked.
Well, maybe we'll have to take a look at it. I'll take
Lehigh and Bolivar County High School for 100. Thank you so much.
Gore Springs and Ingomar.
Yeah.
Do they even play football? That was a funny moment. Many, many years ago, I was working at the TV station up here, and we were getting ready to go out and have Friday night high school football coverage. And this old guy who'd been working in operations in there forever had a really good sense of humor. His name was Gary Baker. And we were just walking by, and he said to me, I was new, and he said to us, y'all going to cover that Gore Springs and Ingomar matchup? And everybody laughed but me. I didn't know what he was talking about. And then somebody goes, hey, neither of those schools even play football.
Yeah, but you don't want to play them in basketball.
No, sir.
Especially Ingomar.
What do they call that? What's the name of that classic, the basketball tournament there at New Albany? I'm drawing a blank. Well, I'll think of it a little bit. But they're always like a part of it. Ingomar's in there. I don't know about Gore Springs, but Ripley in those areas. Myrtle, a bunch of basketball schools over there, for sure. Okay, look, I promised this. Warrior Pride on YouTube asked a question way while ago. I need to get to it. He said, do you think the SEC should switch to a pod scheduling format in 2026, eliminating the 2-division format and have fans be able to attend every single SEC football stadium in 4 years? Warrior Pride. Absolutely. And I understand we have divisions. I get it. And we're wanting to send division champs. Okay? We're wanting to send them to the SEC championship game. Well, Steve Spurrier, just a few years ago, you know what Steve Spurrier said about it? Steve Spurrier said, decide who the division winners are based on wins and losses against their own division. Look, there's a way to figure it out. You could still have the divisions, and whatever's on the schedule, it's SEC wins. You got the most SEC wins or whatever, you go to the championship game. Whichever side you're on. Play the other side. It ain't that hard. Warrior Pride, yes. I could do an entire 3-hour show talking just about, we could spend, 1 hour on all the history that led up to the poor scheduling model we've had in the SEC, and then all the stuff they ought to do to change it. But the cross-division rival, that's the foul-up. That's the linchpin. Warrior Pride, you got this big product that's not operating right. It's the scheduling is clogged up and it won't flow like it's supposed to. You reach in there and grab this pin, and the linchpin, the thing that's holding all that and fouling it up, is the cross-division rival. And it's because of Alabama and Auburn, primarily. Primarily those two schools, the state in which the SEC offices reside. They have the power. Their old alumni have the power and the money. And they got to play Tennessee and they got to play Georgia. Therefore, if we do it to these schools, we've got to do it to everybody else. So you know what? Ole Miss and Vandy, you guys are cross-division rivals. And those two schools are like, what? We got to play each other every year? Yeah, and oh, by the way, you'll go to Florida once every 12 years. You'll go to Georgia once every 12 years. Well, if you reach in there and pull that out, pull that pin out, the cross-division rival pin, the whole thing will loosen up and start spinning, and those wheels will spin, and that thing will take off. Yes, Taylor, thank you on YouTube, and Anthony on the text line. The Hotbed Classic, that's what I was trying to think of, that basketball tournament in New Albany. I've been there. I'm just drawing a blank. It happens when you get old. All right, my battery's running out. Everybody watching the live stream, I'm going to ask you to flip on over to the audio stream on the iHeart app or on the TuneIn app or at thezone1059.com. Hour 2, rolling along with you in the Farm Bureau studio. Stick around.